Welcome to Wawasan Wire. Today, we're talking about netizens' reaction toward Hadi Awang's recent controversial statements made in Parliament.
Yeah, those definitely caught everyone's attention. Made during the 2026 Madani budget debate in the Dewan Rakyat, wasn't it?
Exactly. And things moved pretty quickly beyond just budgets. Two really big things stood out.
The call for an Islamic currency to potentially replace the U.S. dollar in international trade.
And a really strong statement about a planned visit by former U.S. President Donald Trump.
It's quite the mix, isn't it? Economics and, well, very direct international politics.
Absolutely. And the online reaction, especially to the currency part, was immediate and, let's just say, pretty blunt.
Which isn't surprising. Both points, if you think about it, are challenging the current global setup, the Western-led system.
Okay, let's start with the money side then. The big idea, shifting towards an Islamic currency. What was the core statement?
Well, it came up after a direct question, actually. Hulu Terengganu MP Datuk Rosal Wahid asked him about moving away from the U.S. dollar.
And Hadi Awang's response was?
Very clear. He basically said yes, Islamic nations should look at using an Islamic currency. And he specifically mentioned the dinar, the main goal, reducing reliance on the U.S. dollar.
Now, you mentioned earlier this wasn't totally out of the blue.
No, not entirely. And he made sure to point that out. He reminded everyone that former Prime Minister Tun Mahathir Mohamad had floated a similar idea years ago. And he urged the current government to, I think the term was reboot that idea.
Reboot. Okay, so giving it a bit of historical precedent.
Exactly. But reviving it now with all the, global economic shifts and trade tensions, it adds a different layer.
It definitely makes it sound more urgent, perhaps.
Maybe. But it's such a huge undertaking. I mean, challenging the U.S. dollar isn't just about swapping currencies. You're talking about trying to fundamentally change the whole global financial architecture set up after World War II.
The petrodollar system, all of that.
All of it. It's deeply embedded.
So the goal might be clear less dependence on the USD, but the how is incredibly complex.
Precisely. And I think that's exactly where the public reaction zeroed in. It wasn't really an ideological debate online. It was pure skepticism about whether it could actually happen.
Okay, let's get into that skepticism then. The netizen reactions, it sounds like people weren't holding back.
Not at all. The feasibility question was front and center.
Right. I saw some of the comments, things like, he's dreaming in his own world. Just outright disbelief.
Yeah, and some questioning the basic knowledge behind it. Jokes about playing Monopoly, things like that. It got quite dismissive.
But were there more sort of analytical critiques beyond just ridicule?
Oh, definitely. Some people focused on the practical infrastructure needed. One comment really stood out. It was something like, please create the system similar with SWIFT first.
Ah, SWIFT, the banking messaging network.
Exactly. The comment went on, Don, use backside think and talk, use realistic and knowledge. Pretty direct.
Wow, okay. So pointing out that you need the underlying plumbing before you can change the currency running through it.
You can't just wish away the existing global infrastructure. You need a viable, trusted alternative. And building that, well, that's a monumental task.
Which naturally led people to question, the leadership quality behind suggesting it.
It did. There was that comment asking, is this the mindset a leader should have? He wouldn't pass the KBET test.
Higher order thinking skills. That's a very specific Malaysian reference.
It is. It's basically saying the idea lacks critical, practical thought. A real political jab using educational assessment terms.
And then the critique got even more local, didn't it? People started saying, okay, if it's such a great idea, try it here first.
Yes, that was a major theme. The comment suggesting use in Kelantan is the best, or more directly, start in your state first.
Which is, a pretty pointed reference to his political base and the state's economic situation.
It's definitely loaded. It implies the idea isn't even workable on a small scale, let alone internationally. It suggests a disconnect from the current economic realities within Malaysia itself.
And that connects to a deeper fear, right? The fear of the currency actually becoming worthless.
Exactly. That comparison to Japanese banana money came up.
Which, just to clarify for listeners, refers to that occupation currency during World War II that became totally worthless due to hyperinflation.
Right. So invoking that memory is powerful. It taps into a fear of economic instability, even collapse, rather than the intended message of, say, financial independence. People worry about their savings, the value of the ringgit.
Understandable. And inevitably, I suppose, some comments got personal.
Unfortunately, yes. Mostly related to age. Things like wanting to go back to his village. It suggests the idea is outdated, out of touch.
So the overall reaction to the currency proposal was overwhelmingly skeptical. focusing on practicality, questioning the knowledge behind it, and even bringing in local politics and personal age comments.
It clearly struck a nerve about economic stability.
Okay, let's shift gears now from economics to international relations, or maybe anti-relations. The statement about Donald Trump's planned visit.
Yes, this was the other major headline grabber, and it follows that same theme, doesn't it? Pushing back against perceived Western influence.
How did he phrase it? It wasn't subtle, I gather.
Not at all. He stated very clearly that the opposition intends to call for strong protests if the visit goes ahead. No diplomatic niceties there.
And the language he used to describe Trump.
That was particularly strong. He used the term the great devolte.
Wow. Great devil.
And he also described Trump as supporting a government cursed by God. Very intense, religiously charged language to use in Parliament about a former head of state.
That definitely moves beyond standard political criticism. What's the likely intention behind using language like that?
Well, on the surface, it's obviously a very strong condemnation, likely aimed at U.S. foreign policy positions perceived as harmful, perhaps particularly towards the Islamic world.
But there's probably a domestic angle, too.
Almost certainly. Using such stark, religiously loaded terms, it resonates with a specific political base. It's a performance of defiance, of upholding certain values, regardless of the, diplomatic fallout with the U.S.
So it shores up support at home, perhaps?
That would be a key political calculation, yes. It positions him and his party as standing firm against perceived external threats or ungodly influences.
It seems like both statements, the dinar push and the anti-Trump protest call, they really stem from the same root, don't they?
I think so. A fundamental desire to reduce dependence on and challenge Western or specifically American dominance, whether it's financial or political.
Using the budget debate as a platform for these, well, quite radical international statements.
It guarantees attention, both within the country and likely beyond. He certainly succeeded in generating headlines and discussion.
Okay, so just to recap, we've looked at Hadi Awang's two big statements. The call to replace the U.S. dollar with an Islamic currency like the dinar, citing past ideas from Tun Mahathir.
And the massive public skepticism about its feasibility, the infrastructure needed, and the local mockery it generated.
And then the second point, the plan to strongly protest a potential visit by Donald Trump using extremely strong language like great devil.
Yeah, framing it as a stand against a cursed entity, which plays into both international positioning and domestic political signaling.
Both are definitely acts of defiance, delivered right in the middle of a key domestic policy debate.
Maximum impact achieved, you could say, at least in terms of getting people talking.
It definitely leaves you thinking. When a politician uses such extreme language and proposes such fundamental shifts challenging the global currency system, calling a former world leader a devil, how much of that is about genuinely trying to change Malaysia's global position?
Versus how much is it really a performance for the audience back home? A way to rally the base and project strength domestically.
That's definitely something to consider. What's the primary driver there? Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.